Hey, how's it going? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone and Dylan Pickups, and today we're going to make our next in our series of videos on the Kemper stuff. In our last video, we promised that this time we would put together just kind of put together a basic rig. For those of you that are not familiar, taking one of these things out of the box for the first time, or if you're just investigating wanting to get one of these things, kind of see what it can do. I'm just going to put together something real basic today, but just to show you how easy the user interface is and stuff. In one of our previous videos, we went through each of kind of the main blocks on the control panel there to kind of show you what that is, but let's actually put it to use. Today, I'm going to use my Dylan Telly. We're just going to play it through a cabinet in the room. I've got it mic'd here in the room. And I'm basically starting with just a Fender Twin profile. So just a super basic clean tone. It's a good Fender Twin profile. So I'm going to show you now. Let's go over to the controls and just kind of show you. Let's talk about some basic pieces that we might need. Maybe the first thing you would put in line is a compressor. So let's go ahead and add a compressor to our rig. It's really super simple. Basically, we just go over here and we decide we're going to put it in our first spot. And we go and we choose the compressor. So there is the compressor. We assign it to that spot right there, and then we would basically hold this button down, and we would do this on the floor normally, but I'm just showing you on our controller here. We would go ahead and assign it to that spot. So now we have a compressor. Here's without. And that compressor actually has, along with it, intensity, attack, and squash compression controls that you can adjust right there on the fly. It's no big deal. And we just assigned a compressor. So let's go ahead and put a drive pedal on this thing. So very simply, we'd come over here to our next one, and we would scroll through, and let's see if we can find a tube screamer style circuit. We'll go ahead and hold this down here, assign that to there. We'll turn our compressor off so we can hear it without the compressor, and here we go. Now, one of the things that I'll bring up at this point is how kind of expressive and pick sensitive this thing is. You probably can't hear it through YouTube, but as you move around and turn the volume up and down and go from reverse polarity hum canceling to just the bridge, all those little buzzes and cracks and pops and stuff are there, just like a normal amp. And then so for like as expressive as this thing is, so the pick dynamics and everything, just like a real amp, as much as I hate those comparisons, are all there. It sounds fantastic. And then you can add your compressor, obviously on top of that. it's all there. And as you've noticed, so now we have, let's go back over to this. So now we have our foot controls assigned just like a normal pedal board would have. There's a couple of options that you can have here. You could have this one. You could push this button and have it toggle to a different pedal, or have two pedals on at the same time, which we're not going to do today, but that's something that can be done. Let's go ahead and add a modulation effect. So let's go over here to our loop side. This is where our effects loop is. Let's go ahead and put a modulation effect in there. So let's put a, let's see, phaser. Alright, so let's put a phaser there. We'll go ahead and assign that to this foot switch. And it's that simple. Now we can toggle that on and off with our feet, and we've got that. I already have a delay in here. Just turn up. I'm mixing our feedback a little bit. And you might be saying, okay, well, the thing is that that's a Fender with some effects on it. But what if I want to switch in a mid-song to a completely different overdrive, or it doesn't have all the overdrive tones that I'm used to? You just think of it a little differently. Instead of thinking of it as overdrive tones like I want, so kind of back up for a second and think about your rig that you have now. A lot of times you will be playing through a Fender amp, or let's say, and you'll want it to sound more like a Marshall, so you go buy a pedal and you make it sound like it, you know, make it sound like that. Maybe you have an AC30 and you want it to have a little bit of a pushed Fender sound without those tops. You know, a lot of times our pedals are compensations for devices that we don't own. So instead of thinking of it as pedals, thinking of it as the ability to be able to switch rigs mid-song. So if we store this rig this way, this down here is our rig selection. So we could literally have just this amp and this pedal board for one part of a song, and then click to number 2 and have a completely different amp with completely different set of effects for a different part of a song, and then go back to that Fender. So you could do 5 across, and you could do 160 deep. So I mean, it's just, its possibilities are endless. There are a few different ways to set this up. Personally, I just usually set, I like to set it for the particular gigs that I'm playing with. So I have 4 or 5 tones for each kind of thing that I'm doing. And then I've got an acoustic one in here that I use for that. Some guys like to do every program for every song of every gig, but that's a little playlist oriented. I'm not a big playlist guy, you know, song list guy. So sometimes a guy will say, well, I want song number 1 on my set list, and I want intro, verse, chorus, lead, outro. All 5 different tones with different pedals for each. And then toggle up song number 2 on my set list, and so on. I don't do it that way because I don't use that many tones per song, but it can be done 160 deep. So there's a few different ways to do it. But if you just want to come in here and play, I mean, a lot of times that's me, is a customer will call me and say, hey, I want to hear what your pickups sound like, and this is the amp that I play. I play it through a Twin or a Super Reverb or a Marshall Plexi or whatever, and I'll say, all right, and what overdrive pedals do you use, and etc. And I'll basically can come in here and kind of real quick build his tone, play my pickups through, you know, a reasonable facsimile of whatever rig he's playing, and then you know, give him some recommendations on pickups and stuff. That's mostly what I use it for. So, but I just wanted to show you, I mean, it took just a couple of minutes to put together some really, really good guitar tone. Those are only a couple of the effects that are available in there. And you'll find that most of them are a lot more tweakable than the pedal that you have on the floor. Frequency thresholds and all kinds of crazy stuff if you want to get really super nerdy for even a phaser, you know. You don't have to though. You can do it exactly as quickly as I did it, have a one knob phaser, go in there and do it and start playing, you know. And as you saw, it was pick a place to put it, pick the pedal, put it there, assign it to the floor, done. And that's all you do. So it's really simple. So anyway, I just wanted to show you kind of a basic rig understanding of what this thing can do. If you have any questions about it or want to know any more specific stuff that is, you know, more complicated than that, let me know and we'll shoot that video as well. My name is Dylan and this is Dylan Talks Tone. I hope you all have a great weekend.